Hey everybody! Today we're actually going to start introducing right hand rhythm to the chords that we've already learned. Before we actually try to use right hand rhythm with chords, we're going to first concentrate on what right hand rhythm really is and just do it with muted strings. We're not going to have any kind of chords going and stuff. We don't want to have to think about two things at once yet. I just really want you to get the concept of what's going on when you see people playing more like it's more of a strumming rhythm style. It's not like a percussive. There's different types of rhythm that you can do in the right hand, but the most basic and most routinely used in all styles of music is just a strumming style. And it's all about momentum. So let's get to the lesson. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so this whole lesson is going to be really just concentrating on the right hand down here. So what I'm doing in the left hand while I'm going to be doing these exercises is I'm basically taking my fingers and I'm just really lightly laying them down on the strings, all four of them together. So it creates like a muted sound. Here's the open sound, and slowly lower your fingers to the all sound mute. If you push too hard, you'll start getting crazy notes and stuff. So just try to make it just very percussive sounding. All right. Now, let's concentrate on what's going on. When you're doing rhythm in the right hand, these basic strumming patterns, basically everybody's doing a lot of the same thing. Most strumming patterns are in just what are called eighth note feels. Now, what is an eighth note? Well, here's what it is. If we have 4 beats in a measure in music, and that's, if you've ever heard somebody go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, what they're doing is they're just calling out measures. There's 4 beats for measure, and then it starts over to a new measure with another 4 beats, and they're just numbering each beat. So now if notes fall directly on the beat, so if I were to go 1, 2, 3, 4, those are called quarter notes. Every time you play a note directly on the beat, in this rhythm that we're working on it right now at least, they're called quarter notes. And you see that I did them with all downstrokes. I always strum the strings down. Now, that is also referred to in music as being the downbeat. Whenever you actually hear the number called out, you play, that is the downbeat. Now, we also have space in between the numbers that we can fill in another note in there. We actually have a lot more space than that. We can put more than one note in there, but what that is called is dividing the beat. You can divide the beat into 2 notes, divide it into 3 notes, 4 notes, or whatever. But if we were to do this, if we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now you'll see that I put an and in between each number, and I played an upstroke. So I hit it on the way back up as well as going down. Now that upstroke that happens on the and is called the upbeat in music. So it kind of works out. We're doing a downstroke on the downbeat and an upstroke on the upbeat. And that is really what people are doing. They're doing a consistent pattern of that when they're doing strumming. So let me explain. If I just did 4 beats and I went 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now real quick, I don't know if you see, but I'm trying to keep my wrist relatively loose. This style of music, you actually are using your elbow some, not huge. You basically want to control it to just pass the strings on each side. You don't want to be just doing a huge thing. But you need to keep your wrist nice and loose so you can just like graze the strings, okay? The more you do it, the more control you're going to kind of get and just hit the strings at the right angle. But when we're looking at the rhythm here, if you play all the downbeats and the upbeats, you have what's called an 8th note rhythm. It's called an 8th note rhythm because there's really 8 notes now in the measure. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, we got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that is an 8th note rhythm. And now when you see people strumming in popular music or whatever, that's usually what they're doing. They're keeping a consistent when we talked about in the intro that it's all about momentum. And that's all it is. You have to keep this consistent momentum, just like if you ever seen one of those old metronomes that just go tick tock, tick tock. You want to be able to keep this very consistent momentum in your hand because that is what gives you your rhythm. So in the beginning, I want you to just do that. I want you to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Kind of sounds like a train after a while. 3 and 4 and that is the feel when you're doing a right hand rhythm. Now that will never change no matter what pattern we're going to do. We're always going to try to consistently be doing this up and down. So get used to that feel first, hitting the string every single time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now for an added benefit, if you'd like, you see I'm kind of tapping my foot with it. That's a good habit you should develop. Along with playing with a metronome, you should be able to, every single time you do a downstroke, your foot goes down. So basically on the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. But you'll notice your foot comes back up in the upbeat. So it's kind of like the leg just kind of goes along with the arm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So that is the first thing I want you to get used to. I just want you to be able to control that up-down movement. Tomorrow's lesson, we're actually going to start talking about how to keep this momentum going, but start introducing different rhythmic patterns and how they mix it up and how they make rhythm sound different, even though the motion is always the same. Okay? So stay tuned.